what's up guys? How are you doing? How are you holding up during the holidays and what seems like the last days of COVID? Hopefully the vaccine comes around and everybody's able to just get back to normal. The good thing about Whoop season this year is that being quarantined and trapped at home most of your days, you guys are having something to do, and hopefully you guys are staying sane through all this. I myself have been doing a lot of flying and trying to stay busy and try to see my friends as much as possible, but that's kind of been something that's not really happening. So it's been really tough this year, and I'm hoping to see the light at the end of the tunnel this year, coming up in 2021. So I'm super excited to be able to get back out there and see my guys again, and fly with a lot of you guys again. So today on the channel, I got something new from Geelang, which I think is probably a better beginner quad to start out with than something even like the Emax Tinyhawk. I would say jump right into something like a 2-inch. It is 78 millimeter wheelbase on here from motor to motor, and it is about twice the size of something like the Tinyhawk or the Tinyhawk 2. I know a lot of guys jump straight to that, but you can still fly this one indoors. You can also fly it outdoors. It does great cinema with a little Insta360 Go, and it does mild freestyle. So this quad also comes in around $135, which I think is super affordable. Mine has TBS Nano on there, so it'll go miles out. So depending on how far away you want to fly, you can do that with TBS. And I also flew it on my Tango 2 today for you guys. But let's go ahead and jump right into some of the flight footage. Let's do the flight test. I'll show you the Drone Camp's flight test of the LIGO78X 2-inch on 2 and 3S, and then we'll come back into the studio and we'll check it out in 4K. So let me know if you guys like the 4K upload today. I'm gonna try to start uploading in 4K for you guys, so it just looks a little nicer for you on your TV or on your mobile phone or however you're watching my videos. Let me know if you think that's a good idea coming up in 2021. Let's go ahead and do the flight test now, guys. LIGO78X, here we go. Okay guys, welcome back from the flight test. What did you think about that footage? Put some comments down below and let me know what you think about the LIGO 78. I think it could go places that other quads can't really go. It has nice duct bumpers on here, and I thought all the 3D printing that goes into the LIGO 78X is actually pretty good. It looks really nice. Everything is really nice and flat. There's not a lot of edging and bumps, and even the TPU mount is kind of crazy. It's super thin, and it actually has dampening underneath it. Now, this quad, isn't that crazy? This quad is supposed to come with a vertical Insta360 Go mount for the front. That will raise up my height. You know, I can kind of skirt under things with these sticking up sometimes and just bounce off things, but this will add a little extra height for making those small gaps. But I didn't get my Insta360 Go mount in my box, and that's what it looks like on the Banggood website. So and again, this one's around 135, and it seems like they have another version of it on here for around 129. So that's the 129 version, and maybe that's the one I have. But we have 2-inch props on here. Like I said before, this little guy will run 2 and 3S battery, and the range that I think is the best on here is probably 2S450, 3S450, a 3S450, and maybe a 3S550 at the biggest. So if you want to get around 6.5 minutes flight time, you can probably put a 550 on there. I think 650 is just getting a little bit too big for this quad, but I do like that the battery is this bottom mount set up here. We've got the VTX in the back, your XT30 down here, and I would zip tie that off, by the way, so it doesn't get yanked off of your ESCs. It says that it has 4-in-1 5-amp ESCs. It has a Maytech F4 flight controller on here. It is a 16x16 stack on a 45 in there, and you can see the wires running down the inside of the duct and under back to a backseat mounted VTX. And that VTX back here has a dipole on it. You could always upgrade that later. I believe there's a UFL connector down here, so you could unplug that and plug a new one in, which is nice. And a nice little carbon bumper back there as well. I just noticed that detail. We've also got a unibody plate down here with a middle mount releasable bottom plate to be able to get to your ESCs. If you had to replace a motor, you don't have to pull the whole thing apart, which is kind of cool. And we have a front mount piece of carbon as well, and that should take a lot of jitter out of this camera and stabilize everything pretty well. Looks like you get about 30 degrees tilt or all the way down to horizontal. We've got gym fan props on here. Those are 2-inch gym fan Cinewhoop props. It says on the Banggood website that they're toothpick props, but these are actually Cinewhoop props. And all the surrounding ducts are looking like PLA. They might be nylon, but it looks pretty nicely printed. And this looks to be all one piece here. They might be separate, but I haven't pulled this thing apart. I believe that purple part is all one piece. Pretty interesting. And it's also pretty lightweight. I'm just going to go ahead and throw this on the scale for you because it is well under 250 grams if that's what you're looking for. Let's just set her there gently on the scale. Quad just looks so cool. It's like the bumper car of quadcopters. So it's coming in at 88.6 grams, 88.5 at a resting spot. So let's see, the 2S450 will get you up to 108, 109 on the dot. Let's add the Insta360 Go in there, and still at 128.3 grams. That's not bad. 128.1, awesome. And then let's add the 3S450, probably getting us up to 145. So even if you add like a 550 or 650 under here with the Insta360 and the mount, you're still going to be well under 250 grams. Super cool. But this one is, as far as the noise goes, it's a little bit louder than some of the other like Beta FPV 75, 85, and 95X because it has these ducts. It's quite noisy, but it flies really nice and straight and true. So as far as cinema goes, for guys that are just learning to get into cinema, this would be a pretty easy quad to learn with. And I would much rather start at this size than something like and as light as the Tinyhawk 2. And this one's probably going to hold up better for you. Even though it's twice the size and bigger, these bumpers are really, really legit. It feels super sturdy. And it's great that it comes with 200 milliwatt VTX, so you're not going to be having the worst video in the world with this quad, which is really, really nice. Now, also in the box, you guys do get your choice of receivers. So we have FlySky, DSMX, TBS, PNP. But with new guys, that means just plug and play, which means add your own receiver. You have to solder that up, but they do give you directions in the box, which is awesome. We've got FrSky D8, R1 Mini if you want for long range. We have FrSky non-EU. We have the EU version, which non-EU would be the US version of the XM Plus, both versions of that here. And we have the AC900. Don't get that one. I hate that one. That one does a lot of fail-safing. Stick with the XM Plus if you're running a Tyrannus or X7 or some similar type FrSky radio. And TBS if you want to go a little further out there, which I tend to like to fly my Tango 2 these days, so that is my jam. But inside the box you have plenty of space for the quad to fit in there, which is nice. You get 2 little screwdrivers for taking things on and off. You get some bottom mount plates here, and I believe these were for softening up and dampening the battery between the frame. And these are the Gemfan 51mm props, and it says they're 2020 props. Those are Cinewhoop props. And if you have a GoPro and you want to decase it, they have a kit available now from Geelang, which is pretty cool. It's all in this little box. Everything is TPU and carbon front plate. It's got a couple lens protectors in here, and it also has a board to be able to solder on, and instructions in there, which is cool. But pretty thin. Just imagine your GoPro being that thin and being able to get your GoPro around 35 grams, which is absolutely amazing. So super cool. And the best thing about naked GoPro, if you don't know, is that it's powered off the quad. So there's also instructions there on how to power it to your flight controller, and that is like super game changing for 2021 and the end of 2020. Also, I had extra frame hardware in here. Those are, they almost look like little tiny wood screws. They just go straight down into this TPU for mounting up your different various camera mounts. And someone at Geelang sent me a 4S battery. Do not fly this quad on 4S. You'll fry the motor. So 5 amp ESCs on here can handle 2 and 3S, and that's about all you're going to get. And you also get some instructions for wiring up your naked GoPro here, how it plugs in, and they really do give you a lot of detail on the quad here. So really nice instruction manual, one of the nicer ones that I've seen on my channel this year. And this is the flight controller diagram, which comes in handy. It shows you the wiring for your naked GoPro, how that hooks up, beeper, your camera. And that's an 800 TVL camera on here, by the way, so it's a pretty nice camera. We have 200 milliwatt VTX as well, which is also great with smart audio ready to go. And we have an F4 flight controller. It's a Maytech F4, like I mentioned before. But these are all the wiring diagrams for XM Plus, Crossfire, DSMX, and FlySky. It does not appear to have any type of wiring setup for the Futaba guys. But overall, I think it's a pretty nice kit, and for the price, it's actually not bad for around $135. So if you like the footage and you want to fly one of these, by all means, grab one at the link down below, and I will continue flying this one in a lot of different places because it really is pretty versatile with these bumpers on the bottom. I'm not afraid that I'm going to bump into somebody or hurt somebody with this quad. It is, again, a little bit noisy, but it's so small and it looks like a toy. I think people will forgive you for flying it, and you will have a fantastic time with this quad. It is really, really cool quad. So stay tuned on the channel because I got another Geelang quad coming up this week as well. So a new toothpick by them as well. We're going to put the Insta360 Go on that one too. But please do subscribe on the channel, guys, if you want to see more new releases of different quads coming out. I have all kinds of analog stuff, digital, and I have some RC airplanes coming up on the channel as well. So always keeping it diverse right here on the channel. Guys, take care. I'm Justin Davis. Merry Christmas. I'll see you on the next one.